Hey everyone, I hope that you're really enjoying this time with your community groups. As we begin our devotional period today, I want to ask you a couple of questions about rivers. Maybe you love them, maybe you have fond memories of them from growing up. Take a moment to look at the questions on your screen now and discuss them with your group. I hope that for most of you, your experiences have been with really beautiful rivers, but I understand that a few of you have probably seen some gross rivers too. When we take the kids down to Big Bend in the spring, I know that we tell them they are allowed to get in the river at certain points, and there are other places where we say it would be better for you to not get in the river here. Even within one river, it can really change depending on where you're at, if you should or shouldn't go swimming in it. Today, we're going to be looking at 2 Kings chapter 5 together. And in our story, we're going to meet a man who is asked to get into a river. And we find out really quickly that he is not interested in getting into that river. Let's go ahead and read our text together at this time. We'll be reading from 2 Kings chapter 5, starting in verse 1 together. Now Naaman was commander of the army of the king of Aram. He was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded, because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. Now bands of raiders from Aram had gone out and had taken captive a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy." Naaman went to his master and told him what the girl from Israel had said. "By all means go," the king of Aram replied. "I will send a letter to the king of Israel." So Naaman left, taking with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. The letter that he took to the king of Israel read, "With this letter I am sending my servant Naaman to you, so that you may cure him of his leprosy." As soon as the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his robes and said, "Am I God? Can I kill and bring back to life? Why does this fellow send someone to me to be cured of his leprosy? See how he's trying to pick a quarrel with me?" When Elisha, the man of God, heard the king of Israel had torn his robes, he sent him this message: "Why have you torn your robes? Have the man come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel." So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and stopped at the door of Elisha's house. Elisha sent a messenger to him to say, "Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed." But Naaman went away angry and said, "I thought that he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, wave his hand over the spot, and cure me of my leprosy. Are not the Abana and the Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed?" And so Naaman turned and went off in a rage. But his servants went to him and said, "My father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, 'Wash and be cleansed'?" So he went down and dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, as the man of God had told him, and his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy. Then Naaman and all of his attendants went back to the man of God. He stood before him and said, "Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. So please accept a gift from your servant." The prophet answered, "As surely as the Lord lives, whom I serve, I will not accept a thing." And even though Naaman urged him, he refused. "If you will not," said Naaman, "please let me, your servant, be given as much earth as a pair of mules can carry, for your servant will never again make burnt offerings and sacrifices to any other god but the Lord. But may the Lord forgive your servant for this one thing. When my master enters the temple of Rimmon to bow down, and he is leaning on my arm, and I have to bow there also, when I bow down in the temple of Rimmon, may the Lord forgive your servant for this." "Go in peace," Elisha told him. Maybe you've heard this story before. I know that it's one that has really beautiful imagery. It's also one that I think is really easy for us to imagine in our minds together. So let's do that in our time that we spend. Let's think about Naaman first. What do you think that he thought about all of this? I've got a couple of questions that I'll put on the screen now for you to discuss with your group. Take a minute to talk about them together. When I imagine Naaman in this story, the thing that stands out to me the most about him is his hope. He hears that there's a man of God in Samaria that can cure him, and he drops everything that he has to go. Of course, when he gets there, things don't go as planned. He doesn't want to get into that dirty river. But ultimately, he decides that he will do what Elisha instructed him to do, and he finds himself cured of his leprosy. When he goes to pay Elisha for this, Elisha refuses. It's not as if it's a gift to be bought. His obedience, his hope, his coming to God for help was enough. This is a really incredible story to me. Let's take a moment to imagine God together. What's his role in this? What is it that he wants to show through this story of Naaman's leprosy being cured? Take a moment to discuss the questions that I'm putting up on your screen right now. As we imagine together about the ways God works in this story, it starts right at the beginning, doesn't it? When God allows Naaman to go, the king responds favorably to him. And then as he goes, God works through him in other ways. One detail that can get missed in this story is just how much money Naaman brings. It's the equivalent of millions upon millions of dollars in our current market. Naaman's ready to give so much to be cured of his leprosy. And what God does is more than that. God heals Naaman. He shows him that it's not like that he needs his money or that he has to do him a favor so that he will receive his blessing. All that Naaman is required to do by God in this story is to come to him, seeking healing, and he'll receive it. God not only cures his leprosy, he heals his misconceptions about who this God is and shows him just how much he cares. Let's take a moment to think about ourselves. How do the things that we've talked about today impact you and me right here, right now, in our day-to-day lives? Take a moment to look at the questions on your screen together. As we wrap up today, my hope would be for all of us that we can hope in the God of this story, that we can put our trust in him and know that he cares for us, even before we're able to do anything for him. At the end of the story, Naaman says, I want to take some dirt back because I only ever want to sacrifice. I only ever want to make burnt offerings to this God. Of course, he acknowledges there are going to be some challenges with that, but that's what his heart wants. I pray that that's what our hearts would want too, and that other people would see through us just how much this God has done for our lives. I pray that you have a great rest of your week. God bless you and the rest of the time you get to spend with your groups. We'll see you next time.